What if I told you that a simple nickel in your pocket could be worth thousands of dollars? In 1928, 1973, and 1990, the U.S. Mint produced seemingly ordinary Jefferson and Buffalo nickels that, due to fascinating minting errors, transformed these 5-cent pieces into coveted treasures. Today, we're diving deep into the world of numismatics to explore these 3 remarkable years when imperfections created perfection in the eyes of collectors. Whether you're a seasoned coin enthusiast or just someone who wants to know if that old nickel in your change jar might be worth a small fortune, this video will show you exactly what to look for. From double-struck dies to misaligned dates, these tiny metallic time capsules tell an incredible story of American craftsmanship, both its triumphs and its valuable mistakes. So grab your magnifying glass, and let's discover why these particular nickels make collectors' hearts race and wallets open. The Buffalo nickel, officially known as the Indian head nickel, was minted from 1913 to 1938. Designed by the legendary sculptor James Earl Fraser, its intricate design is both iconic and complex. But here's where it gets interesting: minting errors, misprints, and striking flaws have transformed seemingly ordinary 1,928 nickels into coins worth staggering amounts at auction. These mistakes, made nearly a century ago, are now the golden ticket for collectors willing to pay top dollar. Before we dive into the errors that could make your nickel incredibly valuable, let's talk about the rarity of this particular year. Unlike many other Buffalo nickels, the 1928 edition was only struck at one location, the Philadelphia Mint. That means no Denver or San Francisco mint marks exist. This alone makes it a key date, but when you add error varieties to the mix, the value becomes almost unbelievable. Let's get into what really matters: the errors that could turn your nickel into a fortune. One of the most famous mistakes is the two-feather error. Normally, the Native American figure on the obverse has 3 distinct feathers in his headdress. But on some nickels, due to excessive die polishing at the mint, 1 feather is missing. Collectors go crazy for this variation, and even in worn condition, these coins can fetch thousands. In pristine, mint-state condition, they can command 5 figures or more, but that's just the beginning. Another astonishing error is the weak date variety. Due to overuse and poor maintenance of the dies, some 1928 nickels have a faint or nearly invisible date. This is a crucial factor in valuation. A weak date nickel graded in high condition can sell for tens of thousands of dollars, simply because finding one in exceptional shape is almost impossible. Now, let's talk about an error that can turn a simple 5-cent piece into a 5-figure jackpot: the off-center strike. Imagine a coin that looks shifted, as if the design was printed off to the side. Some 1928 nickels were struck dramatically off-center, making them highly sought after. The further the strike is from center, the higher the value. A minor off-center strike might bring in a few $100s, but a 50% or more off-center strike in high condition? That could be worth well over $10,000. If you think that's impressive, wait until you hear about the ultimate prize: the overdate error. Some 1,928 nickels show signs of being struck over a previous year, creating a fascinating blend of numerals that is highly coveted among collectors. When one of these overdate nickels appears at auction, bidding wars break out, with final prices soaring past $50,000 for premium specimens. And here's the kicker: most people don't even realize they have one until they take a closer look with a magnifying glass. Another error that drives collectors wild is the die crack or cut error. This happens when the coin's die develops a fracture, leaving raised lines or blobs of metal on the final product. The larger the crack or cut, the more valuable the coin becomes. Some of these have sold for as much as $20,000, simply because they are one-of-a-kind anomalies that serious numismatists cannot resist. By now, you might be wondering, how do I know if my 1928 nickel is worth a fortune? The first step is simple: check the date. If it's clear and well-defined, congratulations, you have a solid candidate. Next, examine the details of the headdress. Do you see all 3 feathers? If not, you might have a 2-feather error. Then, inspect the strike. Does the design look misaligned? If so, you could be holding an off-center error. And don't forget to look for any unusual marks, cuts, or doubling in the lettering and numbers. Once you've identified a potential rarity, it's time to determine its grade. Coins are graded on a scale from poor, P1, to mint state, MS, 70, with condition playing a massive role in value. A heavily circulated 1928 nickel might be worth just a few dollars, but in mint state, the value skyrockets exponentially. The difference between a fine, F12, grade and a mint state, MS, 65, grade could mean the difference between $50 and $50,000. But let's take it a step further. If you believe you have a high-value 1928 nickel, getting it professionally graded by PCGS or NGC is a must. These third-party grading services authenticate and certify coins, providing an official rating that can add thousands to its value. Many collectors refuse to buy rare coins unless they are slabbed and graded by a reputable service. And here's why that matters: once a coin has an official grade, its auction price can skyrocket beyond what anyone expected. Speaking of auctions, let's talk about where to sell a valuable 1928 nickel. If you've got a truly rare specimen, don't rush to sell it at a local shop for a quick buck. Instead, consider major auction houses like Heritage Auctions or Stack's Bowers, where serious collectors are willing to pay top dollar for the best coins. Even platforms like eBay can yield impressive results if you know how to list your coin properly with high-resolution images and a detailed description. Now, here's something truly mind-blowing. Some of the rarest 1928 nickels have reached six-figure sales in major auctions, especially when multiple errors appear on the same coin. A combination of an off-center strike, a weak date, and a die crack. That's the holy grail of Buffalo nickels. If one of these surfaces in mint condition, we could be looking at a price tag well beyond $100,000, possibly even breaking records in the coin collecting world. So, the question remains, do you have a fortune hiding in your collection? Have you checked your old coin jars, your grandparents' attic, or even that random change you received at the store? The odds may be slim, but the possibility is very real. Every year, unsuspecting people discover rare and valuable coins they had no idea were worth anything. Yours could be next. The 1973 USA nickel might seem like just another coin at first glance, but every coin tells a story. Produced during a time of economic shifts and technological advancements in minting, these nickels bear the hallmarks of an era striving for perfection while occasionally stumbling into fascinating mistakes. These so-called mistakes, minting errors, are what can turn a mere 5-cent coin into a collector's dream. But why is the 1973 nickel so intriguing? Let's start with its basics. The coin features a profile of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse, his steadfast gaze representing continuity in a changing world. On the reverse, you'll find Monticello, Jefferson's iconic home, meticulously engraved. While the design itself has remained largely consistent over the years, the real magic lies not in the design's perfection but in its imperfections. Minting errors occur when something goes wrong during the coin's production process. And for the 1973 nickel, a surprising number of errors have been documented. These errors can take many forms, each with its own unique appeal and value. Let's break down the types of errors that can make a 1973 nickel so valuable. First, there are double die errors. This happens when the coin's die, the engraved stamp that impresses the design onto the blank metal, shifts slightly between strikes. The result? Elements of the design, like Jefferson's face or the lettering, appear doubled. On a 1973 nickel, this might manifest as a faint shadow around Jefferson's profile or the inscriptions. To the trained eye, this subtle doubling is like a beacon of rarity. These errors are not only fascinating to observe but can fetch incredible sums at auctions, depending on their prominence and clarity. Then there are planchet errors. A planchet is the blank metal disc that becomes the coin. Sometimes, these planchets are flawed before they're even struck. You might find a 1973 nickel with a clipped planchet, where part of the coin is missing due to a miscut blank. Other times, you'll encounter off-center strikes, where the design is visibly misaligned. These errors are striking, pun intended, and instantly recognizable, making them highly sought after by collectors. Another category is strike errors. During the minting process, the pressure or alignment can sometimes go awry, leading to weak strikes or coins that appear warped. Broad-struck coins, for instance, have an unusual, expanded appearance due to the absence of a retaining collar during the strike. While these coins may look flawed to the untrained, collectors see them as fascinating anomalies worth a premium. Mint mark errors are another area of intrigue. In 1973, nickels were minted in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The presence, or absence, of a mint mark can significantly impact a coin's value. On rare occasions, you'll find a 1973 nickel with a misaligned mint mark or even a repunched mint mark, where the mark was stamped more than once in slightly different positions. These subtle errors can make all the difference in determining whether a nickel is worth 5 cents or thousands of dollars. But how do you know if your 1973 nickel is one of these valuable rarities? The first step is to examine your coins closely. Invest in a good magnifying glass or coin loupe to inspect the finer details. Pay special attention to the edges, the inscriptions, and the areas around Jefferson's profile and Monticello. Look for signs of doubling, clipping, or misalignment. Lighting can also be your best friend. Use a directional light source to highlight subtle imperfections that might otherwise go unnoticed. Once you've identified a potential error, the next step is to determine its condition and grade. Coin grading is an essential part of the valuation process. A coin's grade reflects its state of preservation and directly affects its market value. For example, an uncirculated 1973 nickel with a dramatic doubling error could be worth significantly more than a heavily circulated one. Professional grading services like PCGS or NGC can authenticate your coin and assign it a grade, providing peace of mind and increasing its desirability among collectors. But let's talk numbers. What kind of money are we really talking about here? While a standard 1973 nickel in circulated condition might only fetch a modest premium, coins with notable errors can command staggering prices. For instance, a 1973 double-die nickel in pristine condition could sell for several $100s, if not more. And if you're lucky enough to have a one-of-a-kind error, like a major off-center strike or a dramatic clipped planchet, you could be looking at a coin worth thousands. Rare cases of unique errors have even reached six figures at high-profile auctions. The market for rare coins has only grown in recent years, fueled by a surge in collector interest and a renewed appreciation for numismatic history. This means that the value of error coins, including the 1973 nickel, is likely to increase over time. Holding on to these coins could be a smart investment, but only if you know how to preserve and protect them. Proper storage is critical for maintaining a coin's condition. Avoid handling coins with bare hands. The oils and dirt on your skin can cause damage over time. Use cotton gloves and store your coins in protective holders or albums designed for numismatics. Humidity and temperature fluctuations can also affect a coin's integrity, so invest in a climate-controlled environment if you're serious about your collection. Now, you might be wondering how to get started with finding these valuable 1973 nickels. The good news is that you don't need to be an experienced collector to get started. Check your pocket change, raid your piggy bank, or ask friends and family if they have old coins lying around. Coin rolls from banks can also be a treasure trove for finding rare nickels. The thrill of discovering a valuable coin in an unexpected place is one of the most rewarding aspects of numismatics. Of course, as with any hobby, there are pitfalls to avoid. One common misconception is that any old coin must be valuable. While age can be a factor, rarity and condition are far more important. Another pitfall is falling for scams or counterfeit coins. Always buy from reputable dealers or auction houses, and educate yourself about the characteristics of genuine 1973 nickels to avoid being duped. The journey of the 1973 USA nickel is one of mystery and opportunity. What seems like an ordinary coin at first glance can hold secrets that elevate it to a status of numismatic fame. Whether it's a double die, a clipped planchet, or a dramatic off-center strike, the errors of the 1973 nickel are what make it truly extraordinary. So, the next time you come across a nickel, take a closer look. That small coin in your hand could very well be a piece of history, and a fortune, waiting to be discovered. If you've enjoyed this deep dive into the world of the 1973 nickel, make sure to share this video with your friends and fellow collectors. Who knows? The knowledge you've gained today might just help someone uncover their own hidden treasure. And remember, every coin has a story, it's up to you to uncover it. Thank you for watching, and happy hunting. The 1990 USA nickel may look like an ordinary coin, the kind that jingles in pockets or gets tossed into change jars without a second thought. But what if I told you that some of these nickels are worth not just hundreds or thousands of dollars, but potentially life-changing sums of money? That's right, coins from 1990 have surfaced in the collector's market with values that defy belief, all because of small imperfections and hidden rarities. What makes a coin that's supposed to be worth 5 cents turn into something that can sell for tens of thousands, or even more? The answer lies in the world of mint errors, an area of numismatics that turns everyday currency into treasure. These mistakes, often invisible to the untrained, create a frenzy among collectors who are willing to pay incredible sums for the right coin. In this video, we'll dive deep into the secrets of the 1990 nickel, uncovering the errors, the signs of value, and how you might have one of these extraordinary pieces hiding in plain sight. First, let's talk about how these coins came to be. In 1990, the U.S. Mint produced millions of Jefferson nickels, as it had done for decades. These coins bore the familiar design by Felix Schlag, Thomas Jefferson on the obverse side, his stately home Monticello on the reverse. What set this year apart was not the design or the intention but the flaws that escaped the Mint's rigorous quality control. While most nickels from this year are unremarkable, a small fraction emerged with mistakes that turned them into prized collectibles. One of the most sought-after errors in the 1990 nickel is the double die. This error occurs when a coin is struck twice, causing a doubling effect on certain parts of the design. On the 1990 nickel, this might be visible in the words Monticello or 5 cents on the reverse, or even in Jefferson's portrait. A slight doubling in these areas can elevate the value of the coin astronomically. Collectors will examine these features with a magnifying glass, searching for the telltale signs of doubling that separate an ordinary coin from an extraordinary one. Another error to look out for is the off-center strike. This happens when the coin blank, or planchet, isn't aligned properly during the minting process. The result is a coin where part of the design is missing or appears cut off. Off-center strikes can vary in severity, and the more dramatic the error, the higher the value. Some off-center 1990 nickels have sold for thousands of dollars simply because of this striking mistake. Then there are planchet errors, mistakes involving the metal blank itself. These might include coins struck on the wrong type of metal, resulting in a nickel that's lighter or heavier than normal. In rare cases, a nickel could be struck on a foreign planchet, creating a one-of-a-kind piece that collectors will go to great lengths to acquire. Even subtle variations in weight or color can be the clue that you're holding something truly special. One of the rarest and most fascinating errors is the misaligned die. This happens when the two dies used to strike the coin don't line up correctly, resulting in a coin where one side appears normal, but the other is shifted or skewed. For 1990 nickels, misaligned die errors can create dramatic visual effects that are highly desirable among collectors, but it's not just errors that add value to a coin. The condition of the coin plays a crucial role in determining its worth. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 representing a flawless specimen. A 1990 nickel with an error might still fetch a decent price in circulated condition, but a coin in pristine, mint state condition could be worth exponentially more. Grading services like PCGS and NGC specialize in evaluating coins and assigning a grade that reflects their quality. Imagine finding a 1990 nickel with a double die error, graded at MS 65 or higher. Such a coin could sell for tens of thousands of dollars at auction, if not more. In recent years, similar coins with significant errors and high grades have shattered records, proving that the market for rare and unusual coins is stronger than ever. Some collectors are willing to pay staggering sums for the chance to own a unique piece of history, especially when it comes to a coin as iconic as the Jefferson nickel. The 1990 nickel also benefits from its place in the broader Jefferson series. This series has been a staple of U.S. coinage since 1938, and collectors often seek out rare or unusual examples to complete their collections. A 1990 nickel with a significant error can be the crown jewel of such a collection, making it even more valuable to the right buyer. So, how do you know if you have one of these rare 1990 nickels? The first step is to examine your coins carefully. Use a magnifying glass or a digital microscope to inspect the details. Look for signs of doubling, misalignment, or off-center strikes. Pay close attention to the lettering, the details of Monticello, and Jefferson's profile. If something seems unusual, it's worth investigating further. Weight is another important factor. A standard nickel weighs 5 grams, so if your coin is significantly lighter or heavier, it could indicate a planchet error. A precise scale can help you determine if your coin's weight falls within the normal range. Once you've identified a potential error coin, consider having it graded by a professional service. While this involves a fee, the investment can pay off if the coin is authenticated and assigned a high grade. A certified coin is more likely to attract serious buyers and fetch top dollar at auction, but what if you don't find a rare error on your first try? Don't be discouraged. Coin hunting is a game of patience and persistence. Many collectors spend years searching through rolls of nickels, boxes from banks, or even loose change, hoping to find that one special coin. Every search is an opportunity to learn more about the fascinating world of numismatics and to potentially uncover a hidden gem. The story of the 1990 nickel isn't just about errors or value, it's about the thrill of discovery. Every coin has a story to tell, from its creation at the mint to the journey that brought it into your hands. And for some lucky collectors, that story includes the surprise of finding a coin worth more than they ever imagined. As you search through your coins, remember that the 1990 nickel is just one example of the treasures hiding in plain sight. The world of coin collecting is full of surprises, and there's always something new to learn or discover. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting, the key is to stay curious and keep looking. Could the next great discovery in numismatics be sitting in your pocket right now? The answer might be closer than you think.